Well, welcome to the 700 Club. A potential slaughter of Christians and Kurds, and ISIS could rise again. That's the warning of what soon could happen in Syria.
Meanwhile, the United Nations is putting more pressure on Israel over aid to the Palestinians and its actions against the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
New pressure on Israel from the United Nations as it passed a resolution pushed by Norway asking the International Court of Justice to decide if Israel is obligated to support aid groups like UNRWA in Gaza. This comes as Israel banned UNRWA because some of its staff took part in the brutal October 7th attack on the Jewish nation. Norway believes Israel must let UNRWA do its work in Gaza.
Israel, under international law, has an obligation to provide assistance, to collaborate with all those entities, the UN, humanitarian organizations, and third states, and let them help those who are suffering.
The ICJ's opinion won't be binding on Israel, but it could increase international pressure on the Jewish state. The resolution added to the UN's record this year of voting against Israel nearly 3 times as often as all other countries combined. The group UN Watch pointed out that the world body overlooked evidence that UNRWA has been complicit with Hamas. And while the UN is focused on Israel, Syrians are uncovering atrocities committed by the Assad regime. Syrians are digging up mass graves that may hold more than 100,000 tortured and slain victims.
We've documented this crime occurred. We documented from satellite imagery and from witness testimony that the bodies were buried in trenches.
You can see the corpses of our relatives. We had hoped to find them in prison, but we didn't find anyone, and it broke our hearts. They were burned alive here after being doused in fuel.
Some of them were killed by burning, others by shooting. One was hung by a rope. There were executions by shooting in the head, in the eye. Also, some were burned.
Concern is also rising about Turkey's Syrian proxies attacking the Kurds in northeast Syria. That could lead to a massacre of the U.S.-backed Kurds and their Christian allies, and possibly set thousands of imprisoned ISIS terrorists free.
Those Kurds who have been financed by the United States, who are American allies and have been for decades, those Kurds are protecting prison camps where there are an estimated 45,000 to 50,000 ISIS fighters and their families.
The U.S. has troops on the ground to fight ISIS, but only a couple of thousand, so the U.S. is concentrating on what it can do diplomatically. However, Dave Eubank of the Free Burma Rangers worries what will happen if the U.S. can't get Turkey to call off its proxies.
There will be a great slaughter, not just of Kurds, but of Christians and anybody who opposes these Islamic radicals in northeast Syria. ISIS will rise again right now, and we will lose one of the few allies we have in the region.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Well, the double standard at the UN never ceases to amaze me. Here you have an active genocide going on where Turkey and their proxies are trying to eliminate the Kurds from northern Syria. In Armenia, the ongoing violence there, the attacks from Azerbaijan, the historical attacks from Turkey, the genocide that occurred 100 years ago, and where is the outrage on that? Where is the UN watching over that situation? Where is the International Court issuing arrest warrants? It's not happening there. And Assad, he is now free. He's living in Russia. I assume he took all his money with him, so he's a billionaire now in Russia. Where is the outrage on that? You have 100,000 dead people buried in trenches, all because of a torture regime, and he gets to walk free. At the same time, the UN condemns Israel for saying, UNRWA, you don't have any right here anymore. We are tired of you employing terrorists. People getting your paycheck were part of the October 7th massacre. You've been teaching your children rage and hate against Jews. You've been teaching them that the best thing they can do with their lives is die in this struggle. We don't want you in our borders anymore. What sovereign nation doesn't have the right to do that? To say, no, you don't get to teach that hatred within our own borders. Again, truth has stood on its head, and I don't understand Norway. I don't understand Ireland. Please, let's stand with the righteous. Let's stand with this righteous cause and say, no, you don't get to do this anymore. In other news, Republicans are promising to try again after their second attempt to prevent a government shutdown failed. John Jessup has that story and more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon. Republicans looking to vote possibly as early as this morning on a new measure to at least avoid a shutdown. It's the latest action in the political infighting that has both sides pointing fingers after two failed spending bills. CBN's Brady Carter has the story.
After President-elect Donald Trump and billionaire businessman Elon Musk helped tank a bipartisan bill, Republicans tried a new and much shorter plan, backed by Trump, and it also failed. Now Congress has until midnight to find a solution or face a shutdown. Democrats blasted the short-term bill.
The Musk-Johnson proposal is not serious. It's laughable. Extreme MAGA Republicans are driving us to a government shutdown.
The original $1.7 trillion bipartisan bill included funding for disaster relief, farm subsidies, and extended funding for Obamacare, and gave Congress a pay raise. But Elon Musk, the incoming government efficiency czar, argued it was full of wasteful spending, and numerous congressional Republicans agreed.
And you know what? They got scared because President Musk told them, President Musk said, don't do it. Don't do it. Shut the government down.
The new proposal would have suspended the debt ceiling for 2 years, giving Trump's administration more financial flexibility, but it failed in the House after 38 Republicans joined Democrats to vote no.
The same Democrats berated Republicans and said that it was irresponsible to hold the debt limit, the debt ceiling hostage. What changed? It is, I think, really irresponsible for us to risk a shutdown over these issues on things that they have already agreed upon.
Critics argue the measure is part of a larger strategy by Democrats. The Wall Street Journal editorial board slammed Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, saying he holds up spending bills during the year, then relies on end-of-the-year jam sessions to force through spending when lawmakers are desperate to leave for the holidays. But Democrats are criticizing Republicans.
But this is as much about the future in the next 2 years as well. House Republicans have a choice to work with us or not.
Vice President-elect J.D. Vance claims the Democrats voted to shut down the government, and conservatives argue the measure was financially irresponsible, driving up the federal debt. Democrats, however, say it serves the interests of the wealthy while ignoring the needs of everyday Americans.
This chaos does not benefit anyone except those who already have great wealth and power, and we will remain steadfast in fighting for the American people and delivering for them.
Conservatives point out the national debt now stands at a staggering $36 trillion, and the federal deficit is adding nearly $2 trillion every year. Experts warn that deficits this high have only been seen during wartime or pandemic crises. Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. Operation Blessing volunteers came out in full force recently to help make sure the organization is ready when disaster strikes. CBN's Wendy Griffith shows us how they put more than 200 emergency kits together while also getting into the holiday spirit.
Slide to the left, slide to the right.
Rockin' sounds of Christmas filled the Operation Blessing warehouse as scores of volunteers, many showcasing their holiday flair, took part in this major event.
It's just amazing. This is the largest that we've ever seen. We've been doing it for, I think, 3 years now. And it's just a blast every time we come. And to be able to know that we're giving someone a meal that may not otherwise get it. And just be able to have that opportunity, it fills your heart.
For the Contis, helping Operation Blessing has become a Christmas family tradition.
It's fun. It's so good for people that really need it. And like being here, it may take time out, but it's worth it.
What's the best part so far of this evening?
Just talking to the others while you're packing boxes and just making friends here.
Well, we love to be able to give back, and this is a great way to do it. Christmas can be a tough time for families in crisis, but with this massive packing event, Operation Blessing is committed to being ready when disaster strikes.
This year, OB responded to 19 disasters across 17 states, including Hurricane Helene, that devastated parts of North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. That makes this replenishing of emergency supplies essential.
We've called this a trifecta because we're doing 3 different kits. And the reason why this is so critical is after Hurricane Helene, we wanted to make sure our shelves were stocked and ready, be at the tip of the spear, whether it's tornadoes, floods, hurricanes. We want to be there, be the hands and feet of Christ. And these volunteers are helping us be able to do that and be ready for the next disaster.
Moore set a goal of 1,500 kits filled with cleaning supplies, 520 emergency meal kits, and around 2,000 hygiene kits containing toiletries. For volunteer B. Colbert, each box she packs feels personal.
This is so close to my heart. So I can feel that I'm helping somebody that's a blessing to be able to be here as a volunteer.
I love that you're having fun and you're dancing, but it's personal for you. It's like you can feel you are helping somebody.
Absolutely, I can. That's why I'm always asking others to just sign in. When Operation Blessing arrives, hope arrives. And so that's our mission. We want to amplify that mission of bringing help and hope to a hurting world.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Chesapeake, Virginia.
Help and hope and Gordon, it looks like they also had a lot of fun.
They did. It seems like they had a lot of fun. But here's the real story. Santa needs a lot of helpers, and we need your help. There's so many disaster areas. It's been literally overwhelming this year. But at the same time, your overwhelming support has enabled us to respond to each one. Right now in Western North Carolina, there's a whole rebuild happening. Operation Blessing is going to take on constructing 175 homes. We're in partnership with other nonprofits to say, yes, let's make a difference. People who didn't have any insurance but now have no home, what can we do? How can we help them? If you want to be a part of this effort, and it's not just Western North Carolina, it's around the world, when disasters strike, we want to strike back with love and compassion. And whether it's pre-prepping disaster relief kits that can be mobilized within hours of a disaster striking, or the long-term effort to help communities rebuild, you're a part of all of it when you give to the Operation Blessing Disaster Relief Fund. So if you'd like to, call us, 1-800-700-7000. You can put Disaster Relief Fund on the memo line of a check, mail it to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463. You can go to cbn.com. You can designate your gift there, or you can text OBDR to 71777. We'll send you a link to a giving page. It'll be designated to disaster relief. Either way, do it now. 1-800-700-7000.